Far out in the ocean, where the water is as blue as the prettiest cornflower and as clear as a crystal, it is very, very deep. The strangest flowers and plants grow on the bottom of the sea, the leaves and stems of which are so pliant that the slightest agitation of the water causes them to stir as if they have life. Fishes, both large and small, glide between the branches as birds fly among the trees here upon land. In the deepest spot of all sands, there dwells the Sea King and his subjects. His castle has walls that are built by coral, and the long Gothic windows are of the clearest amber. The Sea King had been a widower for many years, and his aged mother kept the house for him. She was a very sensible woman, but exceedingly proud of her high birth, and, on that account, wore 12 oysters on her tail, while others of high rank were only allowed to wear 6. She was, however, deserving of very great praise, especially for her care of the little sea princesses, her 6 granddaughters. They were beautiful children, but the youngest was the prettiest of them all. Her skin was as clear and delicate as a rose leaf, and her eyes as blue as the deepest sea. But, like all the others, she had no feet, and her body ended in a fish's tail. All day long they played in the great halls of the castle, or among the living flowers that grew out of the walls. The large amber windows were open, and the fish swam in, just as the swallows fly into our houses when we open the windows. The fishes swam up to the princesses and allowed themselves to be stroked.
Look! There are many shiny stones in these wrecks of vessels. Let's move these stones to our garden and make the garden beautifully decorated.
The sisters collect gems to decorate their garden. Only Aiza is indifferent.
Aiza, don't you want to go with your sisters?
There's only the marble statue in her garden.
It was the stone statue that sank with the wreckage of a ship. It looked like a handsome boy.
She also planted many flowers as red as the sun in her garden that is as round as the sun.
She really wants to race to the surface of the ocean.
What is the human world like?
When you have reached your 15th year, you will have permission to rise up out of the sea and sit on the rocks in the moonlight while the great ships go sailing by. Then you will see both forest and towns. The flowers of the land have fragrance. The trees of the forest are green, and the fishes among the trees, people on land call them birds, can sing so sweetly.
Can I see the lights of the city and hear the merry pealing of the bells in the church steeples?
Of course, just like your eldest sister.
Can I see gold sky, violet and rose-colored clouds, and a large flock of wild swans flying towards the setting sun, like a long white veil across the sea?
Of course, as long as you rise as the sun is setting, just like your second sister.
Can I see green hills covered with beautiful vines and palaces and castles peeping out from amid the proud trees of the forest?
Of course, as long as you swim up a broad river that empties into the sea, just like your third sister.
Can I see the dolphins sporting in the waves and the great whales spouting water from their nostrils?
Of course, just like your fourth sister.
Can I see huge icebergs floating in the sea, shining like diamonds?
Of course, as long as you surface in winter, just like your fifth sister.
Oh, were I but 15 years old, I know that I shall love the world up there and all the people who live in it.
Little Mermaid is now 15 years old, and she finally got permission to surface and see the beautiful world above the sea.
Well, now you are grown up. Come and let me adorn you like your sisters. Oh, place in your hair a wreath of white lilies, of which every flower leaf was half a pearl. Then I'll order 8 great oysters to attach themselves to your tail to show your high rank.
But they hurt me so.
Yes, I know. Pride must suffer pain.
Oh, how gladly she would have shaken off all this grandeur and laid aside the heavy wreath. The red flowers in her own garden would have suited her much better. But she could not change herself, so she said farewell and rose as lightly as a bubble to the surface of the water. The sun had just set when she raised her head above the waves. The clouds were tinted with crimson and gold, and through the glimmering twilight beamed the evening star in all its beauty. The sea was calm, and the air mild and fresh. A large ship with 3 masts lay becalmed on the water. Only one sail was set, for not a breeze stirred, and the sailors sat idle on the deck or amidst the rigging. There was music and song on board, and as darkness came on, 100 colored lanterns were lighted, as if the flags of all nations waved in the air. The Little Mermaid swam to the side of the ship and looked in from one of the windows. There was a dance party going on inside. At the center of the dancing party was a handsome prince. This day was his 16th birthday.
Dear Prince, it is a great honor to celebrate your birthday.
Thank you, madam.
Suddenly, a dreadful storm was approaching. The waves rose high, heavy clouds darkened the sky, and lightning appeared in the distance. The ship groaned, it creaked. The thick planks shook when the waves broke over the deck. Finally, the ship was torn to pieces by the storm, and the prince...
No, he must not die.
So she swam about amongst the beams and planks which strewed the surface of the sea, forgetting that they could crush her to pieces. Diving deep under the dark waters, rising and falling with the waves, she, at length, managed to reach the young prince, who was fast losing the power to swim in that stormy sea. His limbs were failing him, his beautiful eyes were closed, and he would have died had not the Little Mermaid come to his assistance. She held his head above the water and took him to the shore. The Little Mermaid finally reached land. She helped the prince lie down on a huge rock and kissed the prince on the cheek, hoping that he would wake up. At this time, the prince fell into a deep coma, and no matter how the Little Mermaid called to him, the prince did not wake up. The Little Mermaid was worried that the prince would be swept away by the sea and kept guarding him. The Little Mermaid was very depressed because she didn't know how to help the prince wake up.
Let me sing to you. My sisters say that I'm the one who sings best. This seems to be the only thing I can do for you now.
So, the Little Mermaid began to sing. Even though the prince was still in a coma, he heard the singing of the Little Mermaid. The singing was so peaceful and calm. The singing little mermaid stayed with the prince, helping him gradually regain consciousness. Time flew quickly. In the morning, the storm had ceased, but of the ship, not a single fragment could be seen. The sun came up red and shining out of the water, and its beams brought back the hue of health to the prince's cheeks, but his eyes remained closed. The little mermaid kissed his high, smooth forehead and stroked back his wet hair. He seemed to her like the marble statue in her little garden. So she kissed him again and wished that he might live. However, she knew that she should go.
Goodbye, my prince. I have to leave. I hope you can wake up quickly and return to your palace safely.
The little mermaid left. The sun rose higher. Behind her, the prince opened his eyes slowly and saw that the little mermaid was leaving. Although he did not see the little mermaid's face, he remembered her singing. The little mermaid returned to the bottom of the sea. She became quieter. When her sisters were busy looking for shiny jewels from the sunken ship, she always stayed beside her marble statue or watered her red flowers in her little garden. The little mermaid found that she couldn't stop missing the prince and was eager to see him again. She finally noticed that she had fallen in love with the prince when she first saw him.